Bonjour mes élèves, je vous présente les verbes en ER. ER verbs. So this is a grammar nerd in tête, a grammar nerd session. Okay? Attention. D'accord. Pour commencer. Okay, qu'est-ce qu'un verbe? Qu'est-ce qu'un verbe? Qu'est-ce qu'un verbe? As we know, a verb is a word that expresses the action of the subject. The subject is who or what this is doing the action, okay? So in English, en anglais, Paul watches television. In this sentence, watches is our verb. It is our action. Who or what watches? Paul watches. Our subject. In our second sentence, Sylvie plays soccer. Plays is our verb, our action word here. And who or what plays? Sylvie, okay? Subject, verb, voila. Now, today, you are going to learn about the biggest group of French verbs. They are called ER verbs, and they are called regular verbs. You might remember our very first verb we learned was avoir, and we did that rap, and the rap was avoir. It's a verb. It's irregular. It means to have. So you'll learn that we have regular and irregular verbs. Regular are called regular because they follow a pattern. All you need to do is learn the formula, and then you're able to use or to conjugate is our nerdy word, these verbs, any verbs that end in ER, okay? So the good thing is that ER verbs make up 85% of all the verbs in the French language. So after today's lesson, you'll be able to conjugate 85% of all the verbs in the French language. That's our goal, okay? Continuons, if it will let me. So some of these verbs we've already learned, we've used. Aimer, like j'aime, tu aimes. Détester, je déteste, tu détestes. Danser, j'aime danser. J'aime écouter de la musique. Je n'aime pas étudier. J'aime parler. J'aime manger. Et j'aime nager. So we've seen these verbs. These should be familiar to us. Now, continuons. It will let me. This is what we just ended, right? Describing what we like and dislike. So j'aime, we know, means I like, and je n'aime pas, I don't like. Okay, and this is how we use them. We use j'aime plus a verb. I like to do something. I like to dance. So these are actually both verbs here, but they're different forms. So j'aime danser. I like to dance. And then we learn to talk about something we don't like. We have to put that ne or an apostrophe and pas around our verb, sandwich that verb, hug that verb to make it negative. So je n'aime pas plus any verb. Je n'aime pas travailler. Je n'aime pas voyager. Je n'aime pas manger. J'adore manger, mais ça va. Je n'aime pas nager. I don't like to swim. Okay, so that's our little révision. Now, if you're in class with me, we're going to just turn and talk to our partner. But if you're at home, go ahead and pause the video and say what you like, if you like or dislike these. So, j'aime travailler. Je n'aime pas surfer sur Internet. J'aime regarder la télé. We've also learned j'adore and je déteste. Okay? And je préfère aussi. So go ahead and pause and talk out loud to your computer. All right. So we have talked about this. This is again as a review. We said we need a subject and a verb. And the subject can be a noun like my class or a pronoun like she. A pronoun is just one of those little words that replaces a noun so that we don't sound repetitive. In this sentence, the students work really well. The students are who or what are doing the verb, doing the action of the sentence. So the students is our subject. She is nice. She is our subject. It is a pronoun. Madame Garnier speaks French. Madame Garnier is our subject here. Okay. So pause, go ahead and pause, or if this is made into a puzzle, you will get a question here. What is the subject and verb of this first sentence? I talk to my friends. The subject is I, and the verb is talk, and I is a pronoun here. The teacher reads a lot. Go ahead and tell me the subject and verb here. The subject is teacher. Who or what reads a lot? The teacher. Reads is what our subject is doing in the sentence. Reads is our verb. Okay, I'm going to be jumping around here a little bit, so just bear with me. I'm not able to combine these into one. All right, I'm going to read you a little story right now. And as I'm reading, I want you to notice some things. Okay, so my question is, qu'est-ce que tu aimes manger? Qu'est-ce que tu aimes manger? All right, and here is a long answer to that question. J'aime les bananes, mais ma sœur, my sister, n'aime pas les bananes. Elle aime les pommes et les oranges. Et toi, tu aimes les bananes? Ma famille et moi, nous aimons le jus d'orange. Et toi, tu aimes le jus d'orange? Mon frère et ma sœur aiment manger les frites. Moi, j'aime pas les frites. Toi et ta famille, vous aimez manger les frites? En général, j'adore manger. Okay. I'm going to try to let's see. Okay, let's take a look here and look at all the times we see something that looks like the verb aimer, okay? So here we have j'aime, that one we've already learned. We have n'aime pas, and the subject here is ma sœur, my sister. Elle aime, okay, she likes, there's aime. Tu aimes, you like. Ma famille et moi, nous aimons, okay, there's nous, if you recall, nous means we, right? Tu aimes, here's another one. Mon frère, ma sœur aiment. So this is my brother, mon frère et ma sœur. My brother and my sister like aime with an E-N-T on the end. Moi, je n'aime pas. Toi et ta famille, vous aimez manger les frites? Vous, remember, y'all, vous aimez? You and your family, toi et ta famille, vous aimez? En général, j'adore manger. Okay, so I want you to think about all these places we've seen with different subjects, okay? You'll notice this ends in just an E. This with my sister ends in an E. With elle ends in an E. Toi, tu aimes ends in an ES or ES en français. Nous ends in an ONS, okay? Tu, here we go, ES. Mon frère et ma sœur, which are two people, okay, but not including me, ends in ENT, E-N-T, ENT. Okay, and then here we have vous, which is y'all, ends in EZ. So why do we have these different endings, and how do we know which endings to use? That, my friends, is called conjugating, okay? Conjugating, which we've talked about when we learned avoir, is just making that verb match its subject so it doesn't sound funny. So we in English, we say I like, but we say he likes with an S, okay? It would sound kind of funny to us as native English speakers to say I likes, okay? So that's what we're doing. We are learning how to conjugate these verbs in French. So I'm going to flip back over to my other PowerPoint right now. Okay. And here we go. Okay. So here we go. Think of this as like a math formula. We memorize this formula, we memorize the endings, and you can conjugate 85% of all the verbs in the French language. D'accord. So the step number 1, étape numéro 1. Okay, we couper, 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 couper. The ER, so we take off that ER ending. So these are the raw forms or the infinitive forms of the verb, the to form. If you look up in a dictionary, dance, you're going to see danser, okay? And we say in English to dance, but that little ER in the end makes us know that it's an infinitive, and then we say to dance. So danser, parler, to speak, écouter, to listen, okay? And so that we're going to first take off the ER. So here we have D-A-N-S, P-A-R-L, E accent aigu, C-O-U-T. So that's our stem. That's what we're starting with, okay? Couper the ER. Then we're going to add our endings that are always the same for our regular ER verbs. Here we go. For je, we would add an E to the end. For tu, ES. For il, elle, on, we add an E. For nous, we add an ONS. For vous, we add an EZ. For il, elle, pluriel, we add an ENT. Now, I have a song for this. Songs really help us to remember things. I remember so many songs from my childhood, from my teenage years, when they come on the radio. All the words come back to me, even though I haven't thought about that song in years. So we learn things a lot by songs. So here's how this song goes for the ER verb endings. E, S, O, N, S, Z, N, T. Chantez avec moi. S, O, N, S, Z, N, T. S, O, N, S, Z, N, T. It'll also help you learn the letter E in French, which is E. Okay, so let's do some practice. Okay, so this is the verb travailler, to work. We've been using travailler in the infinitive form with the ER, with j'aime. J'aime travailler, je n'aime pas travailler, etc. Now, instead of saying I like to work or I don't like to work, we're going to just learn how to say I work, you work, he works, she works, etc. Okay? So here we go. This is how it sounds. And repeat after me. Répétez if you're at home. Je travaille. Tu travailles. Il travaille. Elle travaille. On travaille. Nous travaillons. Vous travaillez. Il travaille. Elle travaille. So I want you to think about how these sound and tell me which ones sound exactly the same, even though they're spelled differently. Okay, so I'm going to say them again really quick. Je travaille, tu travailles, il travaille, elle travaille, on travaille. Nous travaillons, vous travaillez, il travaille, elle travaille. Think about that. And then let's look at the next slide. We're going to use this boot to help us to remember how to pronounce them. Because if you might have noticed, all of these and these two here all sound exactly the same. Je, tu, il, elle, on, and il, elle, pluriel. So here we go. This is going to help us remember that. Okay. Anything in the boot Okay, this is our little conjugation chart. We put the singular ones here and the plural ones here. And for the really grammar nerdy people out there, this is first person, second person, third person, singular and plural. But anything in the boot, we do not pronounce the ending. They all sound exactly the same. So even though this has an ENT on the end, it's not dansant. That's how dansant. That's how our English brain wants to say it, but it's just danse. Those. The S, we almost never pronounce final S's in French, so this is just tu danses. Je danse, tu danses, il, elle, on danse, il, elle danse. Okay? These are the only two that sound different. Nous dansons, vous dansez. Easy at the end of a word is always et. Okay? Vous dansez. All right, so that should help you remember that. Okay, now we're going to practice. So you're going to pause the video, or I'm going to probably make this into an Edpuzzle, so I'll put Edpuzzle questions in, okay? But we're going to practice how we would conjugate. So let's remember our rules. Step 1, our first step. We take our infinitive, which these are all in the infinitive. They all end in er. We coupe, cut off the er. It gives us our ending. Then we think of our ending song, es, ons, ez, ent, and we add the ending. So for je, I'm going to cut off the er, okay, and I'm going to add an because that's our ending for je. So it would be je mange un sandwich. Okay, we'll do that one together. Okay, numéro 2, take a minute and pause this, and what would vous and étudier is our infinitive. What would it look like? How would we conjugate étudier to go with vous? Étudier, cut off the er. I'm left with just accent aigu, T-U-D-I, okay? And then I add my ending, which is ez, and I get étudier. All right, tu, our infinitive is regarder in la télé. Regarde, okay, with an es. With an es at the end, that's our ending for tu. Il with an s, so this is they. Remember, all masculine or mixed group, they. And aimer, but we want to say they like, okay? Go ahead and conjugate aimer for il. Ils aiment, okay, so we'll cut off the er and add ent, our ending for il. Nous, and we have écouter de la musique. Conjugate écouter for nous. Et voilà, so we coupe, cut, er, and add ons for nous. Nous écoutons de la musique. Bravo, très bien, bravo. Okay. Okay, so one more thing. That's okay, we're gonna have to edit this. All right, so this is also a review, but this is going to be important in this little mini unit we're doing before our semester break. So we might remember that we talked about pronouns and how they can replace nouns. So pronouns have different jobs. We're learning about subject pronouns, those that are subjects of the sentence. That's their job. Okay, so and here they are. We've already learned these. We know that je is I, tu is you, singular, and someone you're familiar with. Il, he, elle, she, on is one or we, people in general. Nous is definitely we. Vous is all y'all or formal, singular. Il, elle are they with s's, but we don't pronounce the s's. It's very weird. So we use these to help conjugate the sentence when the sentence has someone's name or a noun there instead. So let's look at that. Okay, so what would we replace Elise with in a sentence? Okay, Elise is a girl's name. And sometimes it helps to think about a sentence and use it in a sentence. So let's see, Elise likes oranges. In English, it would be she likes oranges. So it would be elle. François is a boy's name. François. Il. Charlotte et Lucien. Lucien. Charlotte et Lucien. Now, this is a boy and a girl. Okay. So let's think of it in English. Charlotte et Lucien like to swim. Okay. If I wanted to use a pronoun in English, I would say they like to swim. It's a mixed group, so we would use il with an S. Okay. Les élèves, hopefully you remember les élèves means students. Very good, the students. The students study, they study. In this case, we don't know if it's a group of boys or girls, but so it could be il or elle. Okay. Marie-Ève et Céline, two girls, would be replaced with elle with an S. Mes amis, so mes is mes amis, my friends, mes amis et moi. So this time it's someone else and me. So if I would say my friends and I, we eat at the cafe. Okay, so mes amis et moi would be replaced with nous. Très bien, nous. Okay, now we're going to put this together. I want you to create a sentence using the following subjects and verbs. So we'll do the first one together. Caroline, and here we have jouer au foot. Okay, jouer au foot. This is the infinitive, jouer, an ER verb. So we want to say Caroline plays soccer. Okay, we're going to keep Caroline. We're not going to change it to L, but we're going to use the L form of for the ER verb. Okay, so think of our little chart: es, ons, ez, ent. Okay, so how would we conjugate jouer for Caroline? We're going to cut off the ER. Okay, Caroline's a girl, so she's an L. Our ending for L is So there we go. Caroline joue au foot. All right, try for Zachary. Zachary and surfer sur Internet. Voilà, Zachary surfe sur Internet. We cut off the ER. We add our ending for il because Zachary is a he. And so we add an E. Zachary surfe sur Internet. Stéphanie, and we have téléphoner à des amis. Téléphoner is our infinitive verb. So conjugate téléphoner for Stéphanie. There we go. Stéphanie téléphone à des amis. Téléphone à des amis. So she calls her friends, some friends. And then we have E is our ending because Stephanie's a girl, and so she's an L. Okay, we are not going to look at this today avec deux verbs. So we are done with our lesson for today, and you can go back to the Google Classroom to find out what to do next. Au revoir, bonne journée.